Who's going to be first to the floor here? Pierce comes out with it. Hit the deck, first to the floor, making every big play for the Celtics today. Tatum knocks it away, trying to get it. Dives. What a play by Dave Cowell. Watch him dive for the ball right here. Look at this hustle. Knocked away.
Welcome into another episode of First to the Floor, the championship hangover show. Ben Vallis here. Thank you for joining us. Hope you guys are doing well alongside me. As always, it's Wayne Spoonie. Spoonie, how we doing, man?
Buddy, the best, happiest hangover of my entire life. My kid woke up at 6:30 this morning. I went to bed. I think I logged off the show around 2 a.m. A bottle of wine deep and half a bottle of bubbly deep as well. So painful, but like you could not wipe the smile off my face even at 6:30 in the morning with a pounding headache, dude. Like they won. How you doing, Ben?
I'm a little dusty myself, but we'll get into that. And shout out to everybody in the chat. We see all your comments there. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to either our YouTube channel or the CLNS YouTube channels if you're watching over there. Before we get into it, I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who has watched or listened to the show all season. We get a lot out of doing this show, and we've made a lot of good internet friends along the way, both with our audience and other podcasters and media types. Huge thanks, of course, to yourself, Spoonie, and to Jake Eisenberg, who's not with us tonight, but that dude has been absolutely grinding all year as well. Yeah. And of course, Jackson and Joe, who we were lucky enough to have on the show last night. They've been doing the show with me since 2018. And of course, thanks to the chat, thanks to all the viewers out there, and thanks to our Discord server, which the link is in the description below. That has been the best hotbed for content, I think, for me in the 24 hours since the Celtics won the title. So jump in there. It's just an awesome ongoing conversation about all things Celtics. And just because they won the chip, things aren't drying up there. So definitely check that out. So on this show, we're going to recap all the best moments from last night, at least those that we can remember clearly. This is the championship hangover episode, and I'm quite literally hungover after celebrating last night. Spoonie, I'm curious to hear what the past 24 hours have been like for you, because for me, yesterday, we wrapped our late night show here, which was roughly 4 p.m. Sydney time, and I just jumped straight into an Uber into the city, met my wife after work, and we just celebrated late into the night. We went to a show. We had a lovely dinner. We stayed at a hotel last night, and then I just laid awake in bed all night, just scrolling through all the content, all the celebratory stuff, all the Jays spraying beer and champagne on each other. It was awesome. So how's the last 24 hours been for you, man?
Yeah, dude, it's pretty incredible. And it's so, like I said, I woke up at 6:30 with my kid, brought him to daycare around 7:30, got home around 8:15. Went immediately back to bed until noon. And then I woke up and I just started loading up the podcasts right in a row, browsing Reddit. Look, I'm a hater, right? I'm a hater. I was in the Heat subreddit, not commenting, but just soaking in there oh, I can't believe this. It lined up perfectly for them. They weren't even injured. And it's well, actually, no one says this. KP only played 5 fucking games, essentially. 5.5 games. We were missing the dude everybody said we needed to win a championship. Turns out that was maybe kind of true, because he was awesome in game 1 and game 2. But and it's just been so fun to feel our belief in the Jays and this team and Joe validated, man. All the narratives, all the complaints always come with that implicit Jalen can't go left. They choke. They're not clutch. It's the reason those complaints felt valid is because they hadn't won yet. And now that they've won, even if that shit's true, it doesn't stop them from being champions. And that's what truly matters. And we get to just bask in that until we get a whole off season of this shit. It's beautiful.
Yeah, the Celtics fans' summer of shit talk is just beginning, because now we can dust off all the takes, all the rebuttals that we've sort of had to keep closely guarded until the Celtics won Banner 18. Now it's done, and we can talk our shit all summer long. It's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah. Let's kick off this recap of last night in no particular order, and maybe just starting with the actual game, Spoonie, which I'm yet to rewatch. I'm going to do that as soon as we wrap this show.
Same.
But Myself, 26 hours ago, I was a little concerned about a potential loss and maybe a return to Dallas for a tight game 6. But Spoonie, in the end, we just blew them the fuck out. It was great. What'd you think of the actual game?
So, we've talked about like when we watch these games in the playoffs, like analytically, it's really difficult to sort of have your objective brain watching what's going on. I think first of all, for me, the irony of like everyone talking about how much they hate us going into isolation basketball. And we basically essentially played isolation basketball this entire series, but the way in which we played it was get Luka Doncic on you, blow by him, and then get into your drive and kick game, multiple drives and kick, and then move the ball after that. And I just felt like early on in the game, two things stuck out to me. Jaylen Brown being psychotic defensively, like hounding Luka Doncic for like 70 feet to the point where by like the second quarter, Luka was like waving people off and like, don't pass me the ball with him on me, and like not bringing the ball up full court as the point guard anymore. And that's when, like we got him, we got his ass. Cause that's what happened in games 1 and 2 as well. And just them sharing the ball. Drew in that short roll, Tatum was just diming people up. He had 9 assists in the first half, probably could have had more. And it just felt like this is maybe the best version of the Celtics. This is one of the best halves of basketball they've played from a process standpoint. And then the threes started rolling in, and it was just a tidal wave. And how many times have we seen that this year? Is like teams will keep us close, and then once we start hitting shots, you do not have a chance. You cannot hang with us. And I just thought execution on both ends was on point from the tip. And Jaylen Brown, I think he was the mindset guy from day one of this season, and it's kind of poetic that he set the tone immediately in Game 5.
Yeah, I was curious to see how we were going to respond to them just like shutting off the paint in Game 4. And like first of all, we got one of my favorite versions of Jason Tatum, which is like playing that floor general late Celtics career Paul Pierce style, where he's kind of playing this point forward and just like diming guys up. And we saw him find Drew like slip into that short roll space into the paint. And that was like how he generated that first initial entry point or paint touch, and then collapse the defense from there. And that was like clear from the get-go, from literally the first possession. That's how we were going to start breaking down their defense. And it was like hyper effective. And then we were getting kickouts. We were getting drives to the rim from everybody. And as the game went on, the shots started to fall. I think we finished the first quarter shooting like 30% from 3. We finished the first half shooting 47% from 3. So gradually we started to get these returns on our investments in the paint, if you will, which was great. But yeah, I mean, I need to go back and rewatch the game and do so analytically now that the emotion can be taken out of it. But just an amazing Jason Tatum game. First player in Celtics history with 30-plus points and 10-plus assists in an NBA Finals game. One of 6 players to win the title and lead the team in points, rebounds, and assists. So he showed up in this one. I thought maybe he was going to snatch the Finals MVP from Jaylen Brown there, but in the end, a very deserved Finals MVP award from Jaylen. I've got the clip here of Jaylen Brown. Man, I wish I put these in order before I uploaded them. This is Jaylen Brown receiving his NBA Finals MVP award and attributing at least some of it to his partner in crime, he said, in Jason Tatum.
The 2024 Bill Russell Finals MVP goes to Jaylen Brown.
It was a full team effort, and I shared this with my brothers and my partner in crime, Jason Tatum. He was with me the whole way, so we shared this shit together.
You said, but how were you able to do that to unlock your game, as you put it?
Just my faith in the Most High, just believing in my teammates, my coaching staff, and just being grateful. I've been grateful for every moment, every opportunity. I never hug my head. I don't care. I don't give a fuck what nobody got to say. And we come out and we play basketball. Excuse my language. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Jay.
Dude, I love the profanity up on the stage there, like normalized swearing in 2024. I also love, you can hear Wick in the background just going, yeah, oh my God, it feels so good. He's just like basically jizzing in his pants during the whole ceremony, which was amazing to see.
Did you feel like Jaylen looked surprised? Like he almost looked like, like when there's like these Southern Baptist churches or like Southern pastors like touch someone to the forehead and they do the like, oh, yeah. That's like what he did. He was like, oh, hold me, I'm going down. I can't believe I won it. It's just, it really felt like, I can't remember if it was Joe or Jake last night who said it, but it's kind of perfect for Jalen to win it because he would be the one who immediately gives credit to Tatum. And I'm not totally sure if Tatum would do that. I think he probably would, but JB is just such a thoughtful guy. And it has been the emotional leader all year. So it did not surprise me that he was basically like, I'm sharing this with Jason Tatum. We've been together. We did this together. It was just a beautiful moment. Wick just absolutely going crazy. Did someone yell juice in there at some point too? Which
I
is
think
beautiful.
so, yeah.
I just loved it. And you could just tell how happy the team was for him. And to come back from that Game 7 against Miami, where the lowest of the lows, and the next fucking season, not let it break you, have it do the complete opposite, and you sweep Eastern Conference Finals MVP and the Finals MVP on your way to your first banner of your career. It's got just a beautiful moment for JB.
Absolutely. Man, I'm struggling. I'm looking at my run sheet here and my brain is just like bobbing in a bowl of champagne. So apologies to all the listeners if we seem slow to get to our points, but we're going to try and hit on them all as we celebrate everything that went down last night. Amazing game by the Jays. Here they are, NBA champs. This is like tear-welling stuff looking at these two guys with their NBA hardware there. We've got a clip of Jason Tatum mic'd up as he leaves the court for the final time last night.
I did it. I told you. We did it. I told you.
You're a champ, James. You're a champ.
They can't tell you nothing no more. You're a champ. You did it.
Way to lead us.
We did it. We did it.
I mean, that hits so hard. All the Tatum do stuff. Tatum with his mom celebrating after the final buzzer as well. Like as far as like tear jerkers for me and just getting to, some of the best moments from last night, Spoonie, I think for me, those were two of the best for sure.
Yeah, I think if this was 4 years ago before I became a dad, I probably wouldn't have thought twice about the Deuce stuff. But like imagining sharing a moment like that with your son has got to be one of the most special feelings of all time. So watching him hold up Deuce, it definitely touched the softer side of Wayne Spoonie. And it was a beautiful picture that like just legitimately incredible picture that came out of it with the confetti like falling down on them. There it is, Ben, look at that. And him holding up Deuce almost like he's being shot out of the confetti gun there.
Yeah.
Just a beautiful angle. So friggin' epic, dude. And on Tatum almost kind of like out Luka kind of this series. He averaged 1 point more assists than Luka, 2.25 assist to turnover ratio. Luka was 1.22. And Tatum nails at the line, dude, 93%. So while he couldn't get a three to go, he just brought it in every other way. Like the shot wasn't going down, and he just changed his game to impact it as much as he could. And he was great defensively as well. And yeah, Jalen, again, 2.8 turnovers per game. Like that's always been the knock on him in the playoffs. Below 3 turnovers on his usage is great. And 73% from the line. We'll take it, baby.
Yeah, huge.
Yeah. And I just felt like it warms my heart to see how happy Al Horford was for Tatum, because if this is a special moment for anyone, it's a special moment for Al Horford, right? Like he's had the second most playoff games ever without winning a ring, and now he's a champ too. But you can just tell what an incredible teammate he is, because he's immediately bigging up Tatum for being a champ, and it just brings a tear to your eyes or heart, whatever. It's very nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a huge moment for Al, like the 17-year vet finally getting his title, but his understanding in that moment that it was JT's moment and JB's moment as well, and not, I know it was just a mic'd up segment. He didn't necessarily know the camera was on him at that time, but to not sort of soak up that moment for himself and give all the flowers to the Jays in that moment, I thought was really, there was a lot of self-awareness there, which was cool. Sticking with some more Jays moments before we move down to the rest of the team. Jason Tatum got some variation of his anything is possible moment here.
We did it. We did it!
What do you reckon? I was scrolling through NBA Reddit this morning. There was a lot of hate for this. Calling him corny. I don't know. What did you think of that moment? Obviously, by a Celtics fan here, thought it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like Tatum is just sort of a robotic dude. I don't like I that didn't strike me as like planned or premeditated or particularly corny at all. But I'm also a 37-year-old nerd. Like I am corny. So I maybe am not the best judge what like 19-year-olds on Reddit think is corny or what is actually corny in like the modern zeitgeist. But it didn't come off like awkward to me. Like, dude, he's just fucking pumped. Like we were all yelling, "We did it! They did it! I can't believe they did it!" Like, yeah, before he did. So I mean, that was just that had been such a long journey. It's like happiness was the primary emotion, but the second emotion was relief. Like they finally fucking did it, and that's what came across to me with Tatum. Did you think it was corny, Ben?
No, because I think it came from a place of, I'm not sure if we're ever going to do it. Like, at least having that sticking feeling for a number of years and getting so close. And then just things like the constraints with the new CBA and Kristap's health and Al's aging. There are a lot of variables that you could take into consideration with one's doubt for maybe not ever getting it done. So to finally get there, the sense and the simplicity of the moment, just thinking, finally, we did it, I think is pretty, it's pretty on point. As my words failed to come to me again on this show. Yeah, I thought it was a good moment. Sticking with one final awesome moment with the Jays before we move on. We've got to get to this locker room celebration after the game. Dude, that one got me the most when I was scrolling through everything last night. That was the one that actually made me just like weep like a baby because of just like the Jays finally getting their moment together, embracing, pouring champagne on each other, screaming while there's just like beats blasting in the background. I thought that was really fucking cool.
Dude, yeah, that moment was incredible. I feel like there's a gaslighting that goes on with the Jays in the media in some ways because, like, 2 years ago, all we heard about was, like, remember that first half of the Udoka run and, like, the year we lost to the Nets in the first round? All anyone talked about was breaking them up. And now that we're, like... And it seems like people now are like, what are they talking about? The media, or, you know, what are they going to say now? Like, who was even like talking about every analyst that does NBA stuff was talking about breaking them up 2-3 years ago. Like, of course that's in their mind. They proved all of those people wrong, but now they're like acting like, well, nobody ever really said that. Nobody really meant it. So they shoved it in those people's faces. Now those people are backtracking and saying they never saw it. So I'm very happy they feel that way. Like, they can't say shit about us anymore. We did it. We did what they said that we couldn't do. They wanted to break us up. What did Marcus Smart say? They said a breakup. We said a family. Yeah. Which ironically got traded like immediately after that quote, but it is very sad. But that moment, it just felt so real. Like, and those two dudes have an unbreakable bond from now until they retire. And I hope I see them retire as Celtics. And I will remember scrolling across that video. And yeah, man, just like, it's my boys, man. Those are my boys.
Absolutely. We are going to take a very quick ad break. When we come back, we're going to get to possibly the best on the court moment from the entire Game 5 there.
PrizePicks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 5 million members. It is the most fun and exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. You just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. With PrizePicks, you can turn $10 into $1,000 in a single game watching your favorite sports this summer. You can make a PrizePicks lineup in as little as 60 seconds. You just need to pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and you're locked in. The finals means more on PrizePicks, and so do the star players. You get boosted payouts on select basketball stars that you won't find anywhere else. I've been cooking Spoonie and Ben by hammering more on Jaylen Brown points and Jason Tatum rebounds. Download the app today and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Download the app today and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
Thank you to PrizePicks. Thank you to the CLNS Media Network for presenting and sponsoring this show. And shout out to Pete in the chat asking why my head is nestled between 2 golden nodules. Championship nodules, I'll have you know, Pete, is what I'm nestled between. But let's get to, as I scroll and try and find the video here. I'm curious to hear your thoughts, Spinny, on the best moment of the actual game.
4 seconds to go. Missed free throw. Horford the rebound. Here's Pritchard. He loves these. Puts it up half court to the buzzer. Bang! Pritchard at the buzzer with a three-pointer. He's done it again.
The whole
Dude.
team runs after him. It's awesome.
The response from the crowd, that rip of like audio burst, it felt like it was going to like tear a hole in the atmosphere or something. It was so sudden and out of nowhere. It was an amazing reaction. Bill Simmons and his dad said they thought it was the loudest the Garden had ever been in their history of attending finals games in TD Garden or the Boston Garden, which I thought was incredible. But Peyton Pritchard, not his first half-court shot in these NBA finals, all these playoffs. Incredible dude. Jaylen Brown gave him his flowers after the game, just said like, that dude's a fucking legend. And I think there's clips of them. They flew to Miami earlier today, and apparently, if my social media accounts are being accurate with me, Peyton Pritchard, the first thing he did was like get a ball and go to a court and just start like hooping with people in Miami, which is
Of
sick.
course.
Yeah.
That is the most Peyton Pritchard thing of all time, to just like go play some pickup in Miami while everybody else is like at the club. But yeah, that moment was completely electric, and I'm probably lying when I say this, but that was the moment where I was like, holy shit, I think we're winning this game.
Yes.
Like, it just completely deflated the Mavs. They had nothing for us in the second half. I mean, we basically just were like, let's just play them even, give them twos, don't let them get a crazy run from three, and we did exactly that and put the game away. But that, to me, felt like the oh boy, it's happening tonight, fellas. And like, credit to Pritchard, man. Just like a wild man, hitting 2 half-court shots in the finals. It's karma for Jordan Poole hitting 2 against us in 22.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
How can someone have such a, in theory, or really in practice, like bad finals performance, looking at the box score stats and, you know, their offensive production or lack thereof, but have like 2 of the like sickest NBA finals moments in modern NBA history? It's such a disparity there. But yeah, that was the moment where we were like, okay, there's another Red Auerbach assist. I think we might be in for a win here, Spoonie. That's when we were having a really good time. And the playback, check out Jake Eisenberg's Twitter as well, because he's got like a compilation of the playback highlights of our reactions to all the best plays live as they were happening during the game, which was a lot of fun. We've got to talk about Al Horford, who I think we were talking about with Greeny in the lead up to this final series. If there's one image that we craved, it was going to be Al Horford hoisting the Larry O.B. and just finally coming to terms with the realization that the Celtics were champions, and that Al Horford was a champion as well. And we've got this podium moment from Al Horford after the game.
Whoever wants to answer, except the first question has to be to you, Al. Gotta be to you, Al. I didn't want you to wait a moment longer. Tell me.
It's been long, a lot of hard work, but I'm so proud to be part of this team and that it happened now. La gloria a Dios. Gloria a Dios.
You dreamt of this for so long, and now you finally are a champion. Can you describe to me what's going through your head right now?
I can't believe it. I still can't believe it, fella. I mean, we did it. We're here. But I can't believe it. This is just how I pictured it here at the Garden with our fans, everybody together. This is just how I saw it 8 years ago. This is how I saw it 8 years ago. Wick knows about it. Wick knows about the ring 8 years ago. Yes, sir.
Congratulations to you.
Dude, that is so sick.
And I love that in his press conference, he expanded on like Wick knows about the ring and how he met with Wick and like he had that huge ring. And Al was saying to his agent, he's like, I couldn't get that out of my mind. Like just seeing that big ring.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, check out his press conference. He kind of explains his free agency meeting with Wick and how like Wick's big ass shiny 08 ring was like the part of the reason he signed. But just so well deserved. Al was awesome. 9-7-2 in the playoffs. 37% from 3 on 5 a game, plus 11 net rating. And once Porzingis went down, I think we all thought at the very least we can get to the finals. And that is because we have fucking Al Horford. And you just knew he was dialed in. What was it, game 5 against the Heat, when he just walked up to the fans after he like dove for a loose ball and it was like, say, come on. And he said, like, I just needed that from the fans. I needed that affirmation. And he just like, this guy's dialed in, man.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think this will go down as one of the legendary old man playoff runs. I'll need to go back and check like the historical facts around that as far as like other dudes over 35 and their legendary playoff runs. But yeah, KP, we've been saying it all season that KP unlocks the offense. Amazing rim deterrent, rim threat defensively as well. And he goes down early in the playoffs and, you know, the concerns start to bubble up about how far we can go, led by at the center spot, a 38-year-old guy. And he held so strong and so true throughout the entire playoff run. Healthy, productive, always facilitating to put his teammates in the best possible spot. And we had to lean on him so hard. And he never faltered at any point throughout these playoffs and throughout this finals run. And I think that just goes down as an absolutely legendary old man playoff run. So always going to appreciate Al Horford for the rest of my life for how he held up at his age. Slightly older than me, which is not young. Amazing. Thank you, Al Horford. Sam Hauser, in this game specifically, but also the finals, pretty good. His shot became a lot more consistent when compared to the Pacers series. But the house trap in game 5, amazing, where, again, it's like they haven't gotten the memo, man. The Mavs going at Sam Hauser. Luka Doncic going at Sam Hauser unsuccessfully time and time again. What do you think of Hauser in this one?
This is his best defensive performance of his career, especially considering the stakes. Luka could not get around him. Like, Hauser locked him up on multiple possessions. KP led the finals in net rating with like a plus 24. Sam was second at plus 14.7. So I think that goes to his impact on both ends. The shooting came back right when we needed it to. And yeah, he shot 48% on threes, 10.7 for 36 minutes, which is just obscene. That's like Curry numbers. And he was just really, really good defensively. He even did okay on Kyrie the few times he was switched on to him. So maybe the best game of his career, even though he only went 2 for 6 from 3, but those were big threes, man, and he gets guarded out there, and they are really worried about him finding a pocket of space. And that little mellow midi he hit in the fourth quarter,
man.
We were kind of on a drought, dude, and then he just walks in, splashes it. We all scream mellow. It was just a beautiful moment and a beautiful game from Sammy boy.
Yeah, and maybe one of the most underrated factors, and this will help us transition to KP, is that they put Hauser on the court just after the Mavs started to relentlessly attack KP. So KP comes in, he's clearly lost a step. The Mavs did not hesitate. They immediately started going at KP on every single possession. And that's when they made maybe their only significant run of the game, it's a scoring run, is attacking KP and getting like wide open threes. Josh Green hit a couple of threes. PJ Washington hit one as well, all going at KP. Then they put in Sam Hauser to like lure the Mavs into the house trap, and it worked.
Yeah.
They started going at Sam Hauser rather than at KP, and Hauser started holding up, and that's what we turned off the water, if you will, for the Mavs and their scoring, and really started to go on that end of first quarter run. It's Sam Hauser coming in and being the ultimate white guy distraction away from KP. It was amazing, and maybe his most underrated contribution in this game, if not the final series. But it does lead us to talk about KP, who, I don't know if you can call this like a hero's knock or a modified captain's knock, but this guy clearly was not ready to play, was not up to scratch from a health perspective, but was just doing anything he could to get clearance from the Celtics medical team and get himself on the court. Would you say overall he was a net positive in this game?
I think he was probably more like just an even, you know what I mean? I don't think he was a massive positive, and I think his first run before Hauser came in and saved him with the house trap, it was like, oh shit, I'm not sure he can play at all. But once Hauser came in, I think he got fouled, he hit a couple of shots, so I'm not sure how much better he was overall than like if we had just played Tillman. But the beauty of KP is that he and Al allow us to play offense 5 out. They keep our system. We don't have to make any adjustments. There's no one you can ignore when one of them's out there. And even though he was getting picked on a little bit defensively, I think that was really important because ultimately this is a pretty defense-heavy series. Like, Kyrie shot like 40%. The Jays shot like 40%. Luka was like at 44% or something like that. Nobody was really scoring super efficiently. So I think the extra juice on offense of just having him out there to be a distraction was well worth it. He gave some up on the defensive end. But then I think when he came in for that second stint, I thought he was much better defensively, and we just did a better job of hiding him, which was important. So I'm not sure if he was anything. I think he was probably a slight positive, and he's essentially your backup center. That's all you need out of your backup center.
Yeah, absolutely. Just the spacing compared to Tillman, like you kind of touched on there, is just so valuable conceptually in itself, even if you're not giving the ball to him regularly and posting him up regularly and looking for three-point looks for him on a consistent basis. Just him being out there and the effect that it has on the opposition's defense is huge. And huge pop from the Garden crowd when he came in. So from a vibes perspective, both before the game, during the game, and all through the championship celebrations after the game, consummate vibesman. He has been all year. He established a close relationship with the TD Garden crowd and the Celtics fans. Game 1, preseason in TD Garden, and has not taken his foot off the gas since then. So consummate vibesman. Huge KP fan here. Let's just quickly run down the rest of our list here so we can start to wrap up with a few other things. Ghost of Red Auerbach. Very much in the building. We saw a number of Mavs shots rim out. We saw one, I think it was a Luka 3, rim around a number of times and basically go all the way in the hoop before being gurgled out. And the same conversely with the Celtics. We saw a number of shots bounce off the rim and drop in. I think we saw that on a Tatum 3 at one point. We saw that on a Sam Hauser shot as well. It felt like the ghost of Red Auerbach was present in the building. We were remarking on that a few times throughout the game, so I thought it was at least worth bringing up on this show.
Yeah, there was a Tatum and one layup where he got murdered and he just kind of like flicked it up there to hopefully get the and one. And it like hits really hard off the backboard, smacks against the front rim. I think it takes another bounce and then somehow drops in for the and one. And it's like, Red's in the building, baby. We're winning this game, even though at the time I was still terrified.
Yes. That third quarter, man, was so terrifying where like neither team could score. And even though we were basically holding it at about 18 to 22 as far as that deficit, I've never been more terrified. And we always say this in hindsight. We've been saying it all playoffs, that why are we still doubting this team? Because throughout this whole season and throughout this playoff run, they've shown us time and time again that they are no longer collapsing under that kind of pressure. And yet here we were, Game 5 of the finals, up 20 in the fucking third quarter and just shitting ourselves.
We're melting,
Yeah. It's going to be fun to go back and watch portions of this season with the benefit of hindsight, knowing that they were good and they were never going to let us down. But I think because of the history there, because of the painful history from a Celtics fan perspective, most of us could never truly buy into that until they won the chip, which they have now, and we're here to 100%. Celebrate it. It's fucking wonderful. Couple more points here. Derek White, who said, I'd lose all my teeth for a championship, hit timely threes all through this game. He also had an epic block right at the rim on Derek Lively in that third or maybe fourth quarter as well. Just one final cherry on the sundae of amazing Derek White defensive moments. Spoonie, what do you think of Derek in this one?
Dude, lost a tooth, like burying threes, and he was a really, really good Derek White game. I felt like at times Luka got the better of him. I just, JB set the tone defensively, but I thought Derek was maybe his best defensive game of the series, throwing. His best defensive game of the series. He was just about everywhere. He did a really good job on Kyrie tonight, too. And Kyrie can give anybody fits. He's so shifty, and I think he ended 5 of 16. So Derek was just fantastic. Left it all out there. Literally left a part of his body on the floor to win this game.
Someone's found that and stuck it on a necklace in the meantime. 4 of 8 from 3. And like I said, it felt like all of his 3-point makes were just so timely, so necessary. And he just had such a sense of the moment of when we absolutely needed those points. So good on you, Derek White. He did have this to say about Joe Mazzulla after the game.
Derek, you've talked extensively about how Joe Mazzulla has helped you become the player that you are today. What was it like to share this moment tonight with him? And what can you say about the job that he did in helping lead you guys to this opportunity?
Man, I love Joe Mazzulla so much. Coming off the year that I had, and then he gets the job, and he's like, you know what, I'm going to start you, which I wasn't expecting. And he's like, I just believe in you and I trust in you. This is just going to give you the confidence. And, I mean, from that moment on, I think it's changed my whole career.
Last question.
I'd do anything for him.
So he's crying. Yeah, I think he's crying or close to it. Very emotional, giving that very heartfelt response about Joe Mazzulla. But I thought that was really cool to see. Anything else stood out to you from last night? I know we could probably talk for another 3 hours about all the awesome moments. We do have finite time here, and I need to go put my head in a bucket of ice or something. So what else stood out to you from last night?
Just some quick numbers on JB defending Luka. He defended Luka for 154 possessions in the series. JB's next highest matchup was PJ Washington with 42. So, he was on Luka basically the entire series. Held him to 41% shooting. Luka had 9 assists when guarded by Brown, which is nothing over 5 games. And JB forced 5 turnovers on him. So, Luka scored 21 points on Jaylen Brown in the series.
Wow.
That's insane, dude. That is how good he was on Luka for the entire series, and one of the primary reasons we are now champions.
Dude, so good. I mean, there's so many ways that you could slice it as far as why JB deserves that finals MVP, but the consistency of his defense on the opposing team's best player really throughout the entire playoff run has not gone unnoticed by, I think, anyone, even the most casual Celtics-hating basketball fan. It's just really incredible to see. And it's such a nice addition to his identity as a player. And I would have to hazard a guess that the departure of Marcus Smart has a lot to do with that, because it seems like it lines up pretty nicely with JB's transition into that kind of mindset, that mentality as a true two-way superstar or star, if you will. So just incredible to see that come to fruition against the quote-unquote maybe best player in the world going into that final series, and JB just locks him the fuck up. You love to see it.
Yes, sir.
Couple of other notes, like there was some great first to the floor moments in this one. We saw Hauser get to the floor. Obviously, Derek's teeth were the first object to the floor at one point during the game. JB had a couple ones, an actual one diving for a loose ball, and then he and Luka like slipping over in unison late in the game there, but things were pretty well done and dusted at that point. So we're going to have to scrape through the footage there and start to drum up a new intro for the show now that we've got some actual modern day first to the floor moments. Finally, we stuck with the branding. We stuck with the first to the floor
That's
name,
right.
Spooty, and we were rewarded in the last game of the season.
Yes. Hell yeah. It was great, dude. That was more Ghost to Red Auerbach shit when Jalen slips, and I'm like, oh no. And then Luka slips right after him and loses the ball. And it's like, perfect. This is right. We are in there. I think Red spilled some whiskey on the floor there. So loved it. Yeah. And it just goes to show how dialed in they were. Like, they were all over the place on the floor, diving for loose balls, compared to game 4, where that same intensity was not quite there. So it was beautiful. And yes, hopefully we got some good intro material.
Yeah, definitely. Now, quick ad break here. We've got to pay the bills, keep the lights on, keep the StreamYard subscription paid for. And when we come back, we're going to talk about some possible KP surgery, and we're going to talk about what next for the offseason, what next for the show, and we'll be back in a second. The NBA Finals begin June 6th, and instead of working like I should be or putting any effort into preparing for the next podcast, I'm sitting around daydreaming about getting myself to an NBA Finals game at TD Garden. Game Time makes getting NBA Finals tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to tip-off. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and the lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets. Our guy, Jake Eisenberg's dad, recently traveled from Australia to Boston to catch a couple of games during round 2. He used the Game Time app to sign up with code CLNS and get himself an incredible deal on tickets. I'm scrolling through the Game Time app right now, and there's a huge range of tickets available for games 1 and 2 of the NBA Finals in Boston for a wide variety of prices. I love that you can enable the all-in pricing feature, which just shows you the actual price of the ticket without any surprise costs at checkout. You can see the view from your seats before you purchase your tickets, and Game Time offers last-minute deals. You can hang out outside the arena, wait for a last-minute deal to pop up, and save up to 60% on tickets, whether it's sports, concert tickets, comedy, and so on. And Game Time ticket coverage means your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA Finals tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off your purchase. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Game Time. good app that. Use that code CLNS for that little deal on sign up. Definitely highly recommend it. It's a great way to get tickets for any event in your area. Man, Hangover Pod, not an inaccurate title. Struggling here on Struggle Street. The Celtics are on Causeway Street. I am on Struggle Street. KP surgery. The way that I came about this information, Spoonie, was listening to the Low Post last night, and Tim Bontemps just passed by and confirmed that Kristaps Porzingis will be out, quote, several months while he gets some sort of surgery. We don't obviously have the specific details as to when the surgery might be, what the actual recovery timeline might be, but watching him last night, he clearly needs it, right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, what's it matter? You've now got the full off season. Even if he comes back in December or something, that's fine. Go take as much time as you possibly need, big fella. Come back better than ever next year. So, it's not great because he's a 7'3" dude who's had multiple injuries, but this one was so rare and bizarre, and at least it wasn't the calf or an Achilles or something like that. He should be fine, but go get your surgery, buddy. You've earned it. Put some ice on that ankle, and we'll see you next season. Do not play the Olympics.
Yeah, well, it seems like, and we just had Zach in the chat saying this, with all due respect and love to the nation of Latvia, which I have grown a great fondness of over the past year of cheering for Kristaps Porzingis. Maybe the silver lining there is that he's not going to play in the Olympics for Latvia. They may not even qualify now. I'm not sure where their standing is there at the moment, but obviously he's not going to be suiting up for the international tournament. Now, I guess I just added to the end of our run sheet here, Spoonie, what now? The season is over. And, do you have any sense of, oh, no more Celtics basketball? I'm going to miss the Celtics. The Celtics are no longer in our lives for a number of months. Or are you just screw all that. They won the title. It's 3 months of highlights and awesome vibes.
Yeah, a part of me, we've been going pretty hard, and I've been writing in the nights where we're not podcasting and there's not a game. So part of me is kind of looking forward, and I'm sure my wife is looking forward to actually spending some time with me. So part of me is it'll be kind of nice to take a little break, but then, it'll be the end of July. And I'll be oh shit, man, we still have 3 months until the season starts, and I will definitely miss it. But there's plenty of basketball this summer. I love Summer League. We're going to Summer League. We're sickos. I watch every Celtics Summer League game, and I cheer like it's an actual game. So I'm totally looking forward to that. The draft is always one of my favorite things, and oh, we drafted this guy, and go look at every highlight video that's ever been made with, some goofy hip hop beat on the back of it. So, and then there's the Olympics. So there's a lot of good basketball. But yeah, I will always miss the Celtics, but right now, man, I'm just kind of enjoying the moment. We'll enjoy a little bit of, not being glued to my TV with the anxiety I will not miss is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the most anxiety-free 3-month stretch of my adult life. I feel having cheered for the Celtics my entire adult life, we finally got banner 18, and now we can all relax. And it's maybe the cushiest summer of all time with the combination of Summer League and the Olympic tournament coming up. The international standard has just risen so dramatically that Olympic level basketball is legitimately competitive on many levels. So really looking forward to that. Per Woj, this came out last night. The Celtics are, no surprises, expected to offer Jason Tatum a 5-year, $315 million Supermax extension. You good with throwing that much money at JT? I'm kidding. Of course,
yeah. If we could figure out a way to throw him more, I would. Real quick, Muzz31 says, do we still have the rights to Yam Madar? Yeah, we will have him for the rest of his career unless we trade them or try to sign him to a deal and he declines it. So, which basically never happens. But yeah. Give Tatum all the money. Double it. I don't care. It's worth it.
That's a name I've not heard in some time. Yeah, but who's the other guy?
Baby.
Begaron? We still have him?
Yeah. We still have him too, man. We're just waiting. Just wait. 2027. It's going to be Madar, Begaron in the backcourt, baby, for banner number 21.
Yeah, hell yeah. French Jalen. Love to see it. Yeah. The other thing as far as what's next is, I don't know if you guys were aware, but there was a documentary crew following the team around all season, and Wick described it as filming a Last Dance style documentary, which that description hits more nicely now that they've actually gone and won the NBA championship, but that will presumably come out on some popular streaming service, Netflix or something like that. And obviously it's going to be of supreme quality. So if you thought just watching this team in real time and enjoying the championship in real time wasn't enough, we're going to get some plush documentary coming out soon, covering all of that and likely some sweet behind the scenes footage as well. And then finally, I put here comps to 2008 because for so many of us this whole time in this pursuit of Banner 18, the only fallback item that we've had, if you're having a rough day and you just want to see some high vibes Celtics content, is to go back and watch 2008 title highlights. And now we finally have our own version of that for this generation of Celtics fans, Spoonie, which I just think is great. And it had me thinking about comparisons to the 2008 team, where back in 2008 or prior to that, so 2007, the way that they formed that team was largely through trades in that 07 offseason, and then they go on to win the title shortly afterwards. And I didn't have League Pass back then, so I can't say from firsthand experience what that was like to see that offseason rebuild go straight into a championship. But I can say the organic draft and growth of this team versus that single season turnaround feels like it would be a lot more satisfying than that quick one season turnaround approach. So I don't know, you were, I guess, living in Boston or close to Boston at the time, Spoonie. Can you speak to that at all? How the two titles compare to one another?
Yeah, so 2008 was my we won when that was, first of all, the year I turned 21 in March. So I turned 21 right before the playoffs started, and I was at UMass as a junior that year. So it was a hell of a year of my life. But yeah, I truly think this is a lot more meaningful because you watch these guys grow from when they're rookies to now, and you've got the Al Horford as the master splinter figure. And when we traded for KG and Ray Allen, it was well, they better win or this is all for naught. We just mortgaged our future. KG was the man. I loved Ray Allen too. Unfortunately, C-Dog, I'm 37, but thank you for the compliment. I am not 29. And yeah, I just think there's nothing compares than watching homegrown superstars, especially ones that have struggled like this for so long, get to the mountaintop. And that's why, the guy that I cared the most about winning in 2008 was Paul Pierce, and it wasn't close. But there was sort of a mercenary feel to that team. KG overcame it by kind of embracing the city so much, but a lot of that was after the title. And the 2010 run really kind of brought KG into Boston lore, but this is better, man, at least from a meaningful and how enjoyable it is perspective, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly feels that way, just taking the pulse of fans all over the Celtics fandom universe, that the organic sort of building towards it, all the failures leading up to this point in the journey just has made it all that much more satisfying. And if nothing else, we've just got multitudes now of past championship highlights to go and look back on if you're having a rough day or whatever it may be. All right, we're going to wrap it up there. We've got a lot coming up this off-season, an off-season full of podcasts, including ones that we'll do live from Las Vegas during Summer League. Our first podcast that we'll do in person after years of podding together about the Celtics. We're going to do probably multiple Schadenfreude podcasts, collecting and gathering, compiling, and speaking on all of the receipts on all the Celtics haters that have emerged throughout the series and throughout the playoffs as well. Parade reactions might be the next show that we've got in a couple of days' time after the parade. We'll obviously do a draft live stream as well. We're going to put together the haters cheat sheet, a document for you to refer to. The haters are going to come at you. They're going to come quick. And we want to put together the most succinct and clever rebuttals that you can just spout or espouse in the moments where the haters are cornering you about this 18th banner. We're going to get to later in the offseason an honorary ring ceremony where we shout out all the quote unquote friends we made along the way, the Marcus Smart, Jordan Crawford, etc. Previous Celtics brass that we feel vibes wise have contributed to this title in one way or another. And we need your help there. So in the comments, let us know who you think should get an honorary ring as part of this 18th banner. And of course, if you heard that whooshing sound yesterday after the title was won, that was all the content coming out of the Chamber of Secrets, which is now being cracked open with a massive sledgehammer by the Jays, and all the plays that we could never go back and look on fondly because they didn't lead to a championship win or a series victory or a single game victory or whatever it may have been. They now have been released from the Chamber of Secrets, and we're going to spend some time throughout the offseason going back and revisiting some of those. But in the meantime, that's going to do it for this one. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and all the audio pod Like I said, we're going to keep it going pretty regularly here, even as things settle down after the NBA Finals. Thanks again, everyone. Spoonie, love your work, man. Until next time, go Celts.
I love the Celtics!